Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam Prabhu. Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam Prabhu.
So we begin.
Yes, Prabhuji. Yes, Prabhu.
Vande aham Sri Guru Sri Juta Padakamalam Sri Guru and Vaishnavamscha Sri Rupam Shagadaratam Shaganuranganatam Vitam Tang Shajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parichanaya Shaitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shibishakam Vitangshta Mantra Guru Ajotashika Guru Ganta Charanayage Gauri Abandon Vanshaka Patubishta Kapashan Vibachapadi Nampavana Vaishnavan Namo Vishnu Parai Krishna Prasthaya Bhutare Srimad Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gaudavani Vijane Vishesha Srimad Prasthaya Dhisthane Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sita Gadadhar Shavasthi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare. On Friday was the Chira Dahi Maha Mahotsav, a festival which was inaugurating the special mercy that Nityananda Prabhu bestowed upon Raghunath Das Goswami. So, considering that this festival is a unique festival in that it's a special titi where many leelas of the Lord are performed, so many pastimes, so many leelas. But when they're delivering Jagai Madai, for example, when that happened, it's not prevalent. But this festival, the particular time that it happens, is mentioned. And that is just 2-3 days before Snan Jatra. So therefore, because it's a Naimitika, it's a regular festival performed on that date. So we've just passed that date, so we can discuss this. And this way, remember the pastimes of Gauranga Sri Hari and how he bestows his mercy upon his devotees. Now, we've been hearing in our sessions how Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was in Jagannath Puri, and after taking a South Indian tour for 2 years, he was desiring to go to Vrindavan, but not getting permission from Ramananda Rai and Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. He was kept in Jagannath Puri for another 2 years. So eventually, 4 years after taking sannyas, Mahaprabhu left from Jagannath Puri in an attempt to go to Vrindavan. And that's described in chapter 16 of Madhva Leela Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. And Mahaprabhu, we were describing in detail, Mahaprabhu traveled to the border of Bengal from Orissa, and then he went to Panihati. It's not far from Kolkata, on banks of Ganga. And then from Panihati, he journeyed all the way north to Ramkeli, to the capital of Bengal, at that time called Gold, G-A-U-R, Gold, Kingdom of Gold. And for that reason, Bengal was called Gauda Desh. And the devotees from Bengal were called Gaudiya Vaishnav. And therefore, we are in a Gaudiya Sampradaya. Gaudiya Sampradaya. Why Gaudiya Sampradaya? Because gold, Bengal, capital was gold, Gaudadesh. So traveling again through Gaudadesh, hoy mor dui shamasrai janani janavi, dui doyamoy. Maganga and Sachimata, dui doyamoy. These two are full of mercy. Mahaprabhu desired to associate the Sachimata with all of the devotees from Navadip and other villages in Gaudadesh, Kulinagram, Adishaptagram, Kumarahata, Kulina, Kulna, all of these different villages, people would come to Navadip, associate with Mahaprabhu. So he journeyed back through Bengal. He again visited all of his associates. And the desire, the plan, Mahaprabhu's plan was to take them with him to Vrindavan. However, on the advice of Sanatana Goswami, who suggested that that's not the appropriate way to go to Vrindavan with tens of thousands of followers. And in this way, Prabhupada comments actually that taking large numbers of people to the Holy Dham in order to make profit is not appropriate. Taking large numbers of pilgrims to the Holy Dhams to make profit. Of course, you can take large numbers of pilgrims to the Holy Dham, and there can be some charge, but that shouldn't be a business venture. It shouldn't be a big, let's make money, we'll make tours of in order to make money. A business venture. We tried this, we tried selling these things, we tried selling air conditioners. Now we're going, let's do Holy Dham tours. The whole purpose being to make money. No, that's not. You can take devotees on the tour of the Holy Dham, but not for the purpose of making money, for the purpose of helping them advance in Krishna consciousness. Some charge may be there, but it shouldn't be a business endeavor and cover the costs. So these are some principles relevant for us. We can draw from the incident of Sanatana Goswami advising Chaitanya Mahaprabhu not to travel to Vrindavan with such a large crowd. Mahaprabhu subsequently reflected upon the suggestions of Sanatana Goswami Prabhupada. And after the next day in the morning, he'd reached Kanai, and having taken his bath in the Maganga, Mahaprabhu decided that what Sanatana had suggested is good. And therefore he turned around and didn't carry on to Vrindavan, but he returned to Jagannath Puri. Now, again, Mahaprabhu journeyed all the way along the banks of Maganga. Bancha kalpa taru Shri Gauru Shundor Jana Bira Bancha Punnakori Nirantor. He's always Nirantor, he's always interested. The Bancha kalpa taru, the desire fulfilling Gaushundor, Bancha kalpa taru Shri Gauru Shundor Jana Bira Bancha. Jana Bira Bancha, the desires of Maganga, Jana Bira Bancha, Punnakori, to fulfill those desires, Nirantor, always. Mahaprabhu is meditating on how he can fulfill the desires of Maganga. So again, he's journeying along the banks of Ganga, all the way from Ramkeli, from the capital of Bengal, all the way again down through Gaudadesh, through Navadip, and again through Shantipur, and again Sachimata came. Now, at that time, Mahaprabhu, as he was coming back from Ramkeli, he remained a week in Shantipur at the house of Advaita Thakur. And at that time, Raghunath Das Goswami, he came to Shantipur and he was able to associate with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Now, who's Raghunath Das Goswami? Well, we'll hear that he's one of the famous 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan, and he resided in Vrindavan. Now, when you go to Vrindavan, you go to Radha Kund, you'll see the Bhajan Kutir of Raghunath Das Goswami. He became so famous in Vrindavan. His Bhajan Kutir is there, right on the banks of Radha Kund. And there's Akhanda Kirtan, 24 hours, Nam Sankirtan performed there. His Samadhi is there. Radha Kund, Raghunath Das Goswami. So how is it that he came to attain Vrindavan in that way and become an intimate associate of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? We'll hear today, explained. Actually, he's a prince. Raghunath Das Goswami, like Narottam Thakur Mahashai, they're from a similar ethnic background. They're princes of Bengal. Kayashta class, the princes of Bengal, the leaders, administrators, jomidar, landholders. So his father and his uncle were very, very wealthy. In fact, they were Hiranya and Govardhan Majumdar. Govardhan Majumdar, the father of Raghunath Das Goswami, and his brother Hiranya Majumdar was so generous. They were, all of the Brahmins in Bengal were supported by Hiranya and Govardhan Majumdar. And they had attracted the mercy of Advaita Thakur. Advaita Thakur. They're from the area, they're Adi Shaptagram, they're from this place, and it's not far from Shantipur. You can visit all of these places. The family home of Raghunath Das Goswami, we visited recently. So, being so intimately connected with Advaita Thakur, his father and uncle, being shown so much mercy by Advaita Thakur because of their generosity, Advaita Thakur welcomed the son of Govardhan Majumdar, Raghunath Das. Then he was called Raghunath Das. He welcomed him to his house, and Raghunath Das was able to serve Chaitanya Mahaprabhu for a week. When he was returning, on his return back from Ramkeli, as he returned back to Jagannath Puri. We're reading from this is from the Antolila, Chaitanya Charitamrita, Antolila, chapter 6. Mahaprabhu's meeting with Raghunath Das Goswami. Text number 13. Purbe Shanti Pure Raghunath Jabe Ailo Mahaprabhur Kripa Kori Artar Shikailo. So at that time, Purve, before, he had been in Shantipur. He had spent time in Shantipur mentioned. When Mahaprabhu was returning, and Mahaprabhu instructed, Kripa Kori Tare Shikaila. Kripa Kori Tare Shikaila. Mahaprabhu instructed Raghunath Das Goswami. Instructed him to Prabhu Shikaite Teho Nija Gore Jao. You go to your house, Nija Gore Jao. Markat Baraga Chari Hoilo Bishoi Prai. You give up this artificial renunciation. Markat Baragya. Markat Baragya is the Baragya of the monkeys. They appear very renounced. They don't have clothes. They appear very renounced from this world. The monkeys, just what they can get here, and they're eating. But they're attached to their female monkeys. This is called Markatava, a person. They dress like a renunciate, but they're attached to women. Markatavaragya. Such a class of so-called renunciates exist, and there's a special name for them. Markatavaragya. So Mahaprabhu is mentioning, don't be like that. Don't make a show of renunciation, but rather externally, Bishai Prai. Means just like Prai means almost. Bishai, just like a materialist. So that people think that you're an ordinary materialist. It's not uncommon, this particular style for the Vaishnavas. Like Pundarik Vidyanidhi Mahadai, Bishai Prai Tarpori Ched Shab. Chinitena Pado Teho Shaito Vaishnav Bishai Parai Tapori Checha. He actually dressed like a materialist. Pundarik Vidyanidhi Mahadai, beautiful long hair, scented, gopi dots, beautiful clothes, silk and satin. He's sitting on the couch. He's a comfortable life. He's appearing like that so that people will not assume he's a Vaishnava and respect him. Chinitena Pare Teho Shaito Vaishnav, that he's dressing like that so that people will not consider him a Vaishnava. So that they will not respect him out of humility. Even though he's a great Vaishnava, he dressed like a materialist so that people will not. We're materialists and we dress like Vaishnavas so that people will respect us. It's a complete opposite. So Mahaprabhu is advising Raghunath Das, just be like an ordinary Vishai Prai. And very quickly, you don't need to make any display of renunciation. You just be like he also advised the same thing to Rupa and Sanatan. Be very attentive to your duties and Krishna will very quickly deliver you. So similarly, you be very attentive to your household duties and internally, inwardly completely renounced, but do not express the renunciation externally, just like an ordinary businessman. Now, in order to explain how thoroughly Raghunath Das Goswami followed that instruction, Raghunath Das followed that instruction, is described that his father, his uncle, was collecting tax for the government. He was taking more. He was keeping more. And so the previous tax collector, one Turk, Chaudhary, he made a complaint, and he came to their residential home with a government officer in order to arrest the father of Raghunath Das, Aranya, the uncle, Aranya Mujumdar. He wasn't there. He wasn't there. So the tax collector and the government officer, they arrested Raghunath Das. And he was chastising him. Your father is taking, uncle, they're so clever, they're taking so much money. He wanted to beat Raghunath Das. He wanted to beat him, but seeing the features, seeing his face, he was unable to beat him. Unable to beat him, seeing the face of Raghunath Das. And so Kaviraj Goswami explains that Raghunath Das, he was able to mediate. And he began to suggest, you're such a holy person. You're just like my uncle, like brothers. My father and uncle. You're just like their brother. And sometimes brothers fight, and other times brothers are very friendly. So I'm sure that friendly relationships again will be established between you three. He's hinting that he can do something. And so the Chaudhary, he released Raghunath Das. He said, make an arrangement, bring your uncle, bring your father. And Raghunath Das was released, and he went and made an arrangement, and he mediated. And obviously it mentions that the situation was, everything was peaceful. In other words, Raghunath Das was advising them to give this Turk some of the cut. Give them some of the cut of the excess. So he was, Kaviraj Goswami is explaining how thoroughly he followed the orders of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. It's not that he said, oh, these people, they're in Maya, it's all just chasing after money, it's all illusory. Anitto, I won't involve myself in that, they're in Maya. Mahaprabhu said not to do that. Mahaprabhu said you act just like an ordinary materialist, like a businessman. So he got involved, and he made arrangement, mediating, and everyone was peaceful. And as it so happened that Ei Moto Raghunath Bochor Ek Gelo, 1 year after that initial meeting in Shantipur, 1 year had passed, and this incident with the Chaudhary and the Turk and the tax collector. Ditya Bochore Palaite Monikoilo, after 1 year, in the second year. And then again, Raghunath Das, he's getting all agitated to leave again. And so this happened. You see that Mahaprabhu, he came back from Ramkelli, and then he stayed a short while in Jagannath Puri, and then he went to Vrindavan. And then that Vrindavan tour, that took 2 years. He went through Jharkhand, he went to Vrindavan, he came back, he preached to Rupa Goswami at Prayag, where we're discussing that. And then he went to Varanasi, and Sanatan Goswami and the Mayavadis were delivered. So that whole tour took 2 years. So it was 1 year after the meeting. So Mahaprabhu's in Vrindavan at this time, he's still in Vrindavan. And now Raghunath Das is trying to escape. And this would go on for almost a daily affair. At night, he would run away. And then the guards would chase him down and catch him and bring him back. This is almost a daily affair. Almost a daily affair. So this went on for a year. This went on for a year. The mother, the wife of Haranya, of Godan Manjumdar, she's explaining that our son has become mad. He's become mad. I mean, can you imagine? What do you think the mother would? Every night the son runs away. Every night the son runs away from home. Our son has become mad. She's correct. She's correct. Yes, our son has become mad. Let's tie him up with ropes. Let's tie him up with ropes. It's the only way we can keep our son at home. Tie him up with ropes. And Govardhan Manjumdar, that Indra Shama Aishajya, Sri Abshara Sham, he has wealth like Indra. The Jamindars in the area, they're so wealthy, own so much land. He's the only son. Indra Shama Aishwarya. He's Aishwarya like Indra. Sri Apsara Shama. His wife is as beautiful as a heavenly Apsara. Aishab Badite Nari Leke Jarman. These are not able to tie him down. You think that mere ropes? For a person that he's got wealth like Lord Indra, he's got a wife who is as beautiful as Apsara from heaven. And he's not even, that's not enough to bind him. You think that mere ropes can bind such a person who's already been attracted to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, a madman of Chaitanya Chandra. So, and this was going on. So now Mahaprabhu had returned. By this time, Mahaprabhu has returned, and Nityananda Prabhu is preaching. Nityananda Prabhu, sometime later, Nityananda Prabhu is preaching. Pani Hati Grame Pailo Prabhu Darshan. He heard that Nityananda Prabhu was in the area of Panihati. Panihati Grame Pailo Prabhu Darshan, not far from the Panihati is the residence of Raghunath Das. So he heard that Nityananda Prabhu was in Panihati. What was Nityananda Prabhu doing in Panihati? Kirtaniya Shebak Shange Ar Bahut Jon. What was Nityananda Prabhu doing in Panihati? He was preaching. Nityananda Prabhu had received the order from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Nityananda Agya Dilo Jao Go Deshe Onago Prema Bhakti Koroho Prakashe. This is, yes, before the Mahaprabhu's journey to Vrindavan. The devotees were coming to Puri every year, 2 or 3 times they'd come. And then Mahaprabhu, he said to Nityananda, "Oh, holy man, do not come to Jagannath Puri every year. But rather you should remain in Bengal and preach. Apart from you, who do I have who can fulfill my mission in Bengal?" Nityananda Agya Dilo Jao Go to Desha. You go to, Mahaprabhu ordered Nityananda, you go to Bengal. Jao go to the Anago Prema Bhakti Koroho Prakashe, without restriction. Preach Krishna consciousness in Bengal. So Mahaprabhu, he ordered Nityananda Prabhu, and Nityananda Prabhu is fulfilling the order of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He's wandering here and there, randomly wandering throughout Bengal with his associates preaching Krishna consciousness. And still, the presence of Lord Nityananda's influence, the influence of Lord Nityananda Prabhu's preaching in Bengal is very prevalent, still. Jainitai in Bengal, Nitai go, because of the preaching of Nityananda Prabhu, the preaching all throughout Bengal. We were discussing with our Mayapur tourism team, Gopijana Balab, and his daughter, Antaranga Tulasi. She's grown up in Mayapur. She's an expert on Mayapur Dham Tattva Mahima. She can explain. We were being trained up and living in Mayapur, trained up in Gauranga Prem Sami and Bhakti Pushtam Sami Maharaj is training these Gurukul students in all the Dham Tattva. And we were discussing, let's do a tour of Bengal, and basically it's a tour of Nityananda Prabhu's preaching field. Wherever you go in Bengal, Nityananda Prabhu's Leela, Nityananda Prabhu's preaching. And here's an example. Panihati Grame Pailo Prabhu Darshan. He was in Panihati. Nityananda saw, Raghunath Das Goswami saw Nityananda in Panihati. And what was he doing? Kirtaniya Shebak Shange Ar Bahut Jon Kirtaniya. And Shebak Shange, he was with his associates, his servants, the Kirtaniyas. And they were performing Shankirtan, they were preaching Krishna consciousness. Ganga Tire, Brika Mole, on the banks of Maganga, Brika Mole, underneath the Brika, the Bodgach, banyan tree, you can still see that tree at Panihati, at this place. Ganga Tire, Brika Mole, Pindar Upare, sitting on the platform, you can still see that platform. Under the tree in Bengal and other places, India also, the banyan tree is special to make a platform around the tree, a village meeting place, Harishaba. Nityananda Prabhu was sitting under that tree, Boshiyachin Jenakoti Shudrodaya Kore, and he's displaying an effulgence like 1,000 rising suns. And Nityananda Prabhu, he was surrounded by so many special associates, special devotees. And at that time, Raghunath Das Goswami, he came. And the devotees, they saw Raghunath Das and they said, oh, look, here is Raghunath. Here is Raghunath. Now that's interesting. Here is Raghunath. Already he's a somewhat renowned person. Why is that? Well, we can only, of course, he's an eternal associate of the Lord, so he's recognized. But in his Leela, well, he's the prince. He's the son of the two great donors, Hiranya and Govardhan Majumdar. So, in any case, the devotees, he's renowned, and they mentioned, oh, Raghunath has come. Raghunath has come. They mentioned to Lord Nityananda. And Lord Nityananda provides, he's a thief. Lord Nityananda replies, he's a thief. Shuni Prabhu Kori Chor Dilo Darshan. The thief has come. The thief. Chor. Aj Tumar Korimut Nandan. Come. Today I will punish you. Now, what is that thief? Why is a thief? Well, the whole theme of this particular Leela is that without the mercy of Nityananda Prabhu, one cannot get the shelter of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So he's been trying for more than a year. He's been trying every night to escape, to go to Puri and associate with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But he's unable to do that. And Nityananda Prabhu says, you're the thief, because you're trying to capture Chaitanya Mahaprabhu without, first of all, getting the mercy of Lord Nityananda. Nitaye Kuruna Hobe, Braja Radha Krishna Pabe. Nitaye Kuruna Hobe, Braja Radha Krishna Pabe. Toro Nitai Chorana Dhuikani. Heno Nitai Bine Bhai, Radha Krishna Pai Dinai. Heno. Nitai Bine Bhai, without Nityananda. Heno Nitai Bine Bhai, Radha Krishna Pai Dinai. It's not possible to enter Vrindavan. It's not possible to get the mercy of Krishna. Tridakori Doro Nitai Pai. Hold on with great determination to the lotus feet of Lord Nityananda. So Lord Nityananda, he's going to bestow his mercy unlimitedly, unrestrictedly upon Raghunath Das Goswami. And he begins by giving him a task. It's actually, he calls it a punishment. But certainly hearing it, Lord Raghunath Das is Chira Dahi Dugdha Shandesh Archini Kola. Chira is chip rice. Chira, Dahi, yogurt, Dugdha, milk, Shandesh, Archini Kola, and sugar and bananas. Shab Drabya Anasha Chodike Darela. You bring all of these ingredients. Dahi chida bakon kodaha morgone. You feed my morgone. You feed my associates. Morgone. Dahi chida. You feed them the yogurt and chip rice. Shuni anandita holo Raghunath mone anandita. Raghunath became so ecstatic hearing this particular order, receiving this order. So he went and he bought chini shandesh. Dugdha Sandesh, Archinikol, he bought all of these ingredients, sugar, the bananas, the yogurt, the milk, the chip rice, and he bought them all. So the word soon gathered around in the Panihati area. It's a very amazing place, Panihati, not far from Kolkata, an hour and a half or so from Kolkata, on the way to Mayapur. Prabhupada desired that we have a boat that leaves from Howrah, comes along the Ganga, they call it Hugli, it's Bhagirati Ganga, and then comes to Panihati, and then other places, Ambika Kalna, it goes all on the Ganga, it's all on the Ganga, all of the special place, Naihati, Ambika Kalna, all of the places that everyone at Mahaprabhu's time, everyone was living on the banks of the Ganga. That was the whole civilization. So as you go on coming, so many special places, Panihati, and even now, so many temples in that area. Of Hugli. And in fact, it's interesting there, the water, Ma Ganga, she's flowing from the Himalayas all the way to Bengal, one way flowing. But there, the tide comes in, the Bay of Bengal tide. So she flows in the opposite direction half the day, and then in the afternoon again flows. You can float up and float back in Panihati. It's an extraordinary phenomena there. When the tide of the Bay of Bengal comes up, then she actually flows in the opposite direction. So you can see in the morning she's flowing that way, evening she's flowing that way. It's according to the tide. So that area, many temples, many associations of Vaishnavas, and many religious. There is Dakineshwari, Belur Mat. There's the Ma Kali Mandir is not far from there. Dakineshwari, where Ma Kali was worshipped by Paramhansa Ramkrishna Paramhansa Dev, famous in Bengal. Belur Mat, Ramkrishna Mission is just not far from Panihati. There, all this many is very highly surcharged spiritual energy all through that area, and Panihati. Nityananda Prabhu regularly visited and preached in Panihati. Many descriptions in Chaitanya Bhagavat. He spent 3 months there in Panihati. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also visiting and preaching there. So Mahotshab Shuni, Mahotshab Nam Shuni, Brahmana Shajan, Mahotshab Nam Shuni, Mahotshab Nam Shuni, Brahmana Shajan. They heard that there was a festival. The Brahmanas, all of the Dharmic and the Brahmins and the priests and the Vaishnavas and the sadhus in that area, as I mentioned, it's a very highly surcharged spiritual energy, and many temples, many Ashite Lagira Loka Shankya Ganan. So they all came. So many, you can't even count the number of people who came, hearing that there was a festival. Seeing the crowd increasing, Raghunath Das, he went to the different markets further around, and he bought all of the bananas, all of the chip rice, all of the yogurt, sugar, bringing everything from all the area. He sent his men. Raghunath Das, he had 10, 20 assistants. He sent them all to the various village markets, and they bought all of the sugar, all of the yogurt, all of the bananas. Of course, everything's on the spot. There's no refrigeration system in these days. 500 years ago, no trucks, no bringing in the refrigeration. It's just what's available that day. So he got 7 big earthen pots, 7 big earthen pots. Everything is just baked in the clay here. The plates, the pots will here, the earthen pots, they just make in the sun. Completely biodegradable kitchenware. Actually, that's tradition of India. Everything lost now. Plastic plates, one-time paper, plastic cups, plastic bags. Thousands and thousands of years, they just remain there, non-biodegradable, just in the drains, blocking and choking the cows. And this is plastic, how it's destroyed our world, destroyed India, destroyed our oceans. Earthen pots, you use it that day and then you just throw. And in a few days, it's still degraded, biodegradable, or again, earth. There's intelligence. We think this is advancement, the plastic civilization. So the big earthen pots, they're in milk, warm milk. All of the chira, the chip rice is rice half boiled and then dried in the sun. Chip rice can be eaten just like that, raw. And they're soaking. So they're in 7 big pots. They're soaking all the chip rice in the milk, and then half of that soaked in milk, half of that was mixed with yogurt, and half of it was mixed again with condensed milk. One was yogurt, sugar, and bananas. In one was yogurt, sugar, and bananas, and then the other is condensed milk and champakala and ghee. There's 2 types. One's got yogurt, condensed milk, yogurt and sugar and bananas, and the other one has condensed milk, ghee, and champakala. 2 types of pots. So the whole program here is to feed the associates of Lord Nityananda. So Lord Nityananda, he changed his dress, a special, clean, fresh dress, just to honor Prasadam. How important is honoring Prasadam? He puts on a clean, fresh cloth to honor Prasadam, Nityananda Prabhu. So sitting on that platform underneath the bricker tree, Lord Nityananda, he's surrounded by the most important associates and other important men. Ram Das now will hear these associates of, oh Lord Nityananda, just by hearing their names were purified. They're all the Brajabasis, Dwadasha Gopa, 12 cowherd boys from Vrindavan appeared to associate with Lord Nityananda and travel with him and preach. And now their names are mentioned. Ram Das, Shundara Ananda Das, Gadadhar, Murari, Kamalakshar, Shadashiv Purandar, Dhananjay, Jagadish, Paramesha Dash, Mahesh, Gaudi Dash, Hoda Krishna Dash, Udarandata Adi Jota Nijagon. How many of the Nijagon, Nityananda Prabhu's special internal associates, Jota Nijagon, Udarandata, special Prabhupada mentions he's born in the family line of Udarandata. You can visit his home. Nityananda Prabhu stayed there, preached there. Still you can see the place. His deities are there, Udarandata. Prabhupada visited as a child, because of the relation with his family lineage to Udarandata. Udarandata Thakur was there. Udarandata Adi Jota Nijagan Upare Boshila Shab Ke Kohegonon. They're all sitting with Lord Nityananda. Ke Kohegonon. Who can describe? Who can enumerate? Who can describe all of these special associates of Lord Nityananda? Shuni Pandit Bhattacharya Jota Bipra Oilo. All of the Bhattacharya, all the respectable Brahmins in the area. Just imagine, just to try to reflect on the social environment that Nityananda Prabhu was performing pastimes, that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was performing pastimes. This is 500 years ago in Bengal, on the banks of Ganga. The social environment, the spiritual environment, the social values based around spirituality, the respected Brahmins in the society. Now everything's lost. A man's respected when he's got money and a big house and a car and his own driver. And how he acquires those things doesn't matter. A character, his quality, his devotion, his sadhana, his dharma, no one cares. It's external. How much money, big house, big car, driver, family, sons and daughters, married, granddaughters. That's all that is considered success in life. And a person is considered success if he achieves these things. So these are things we achieve in so many lives. Dulabha manava janama shat shange tarha e bhavishindure. Dulabh manav janma is so rare to attain the human life. Dulabh manava janma tarha e bhavishindure shat shange. Tarha e bhavishindu, you can, in human life, meant for crossing over the ocean of birth and death. And that can be done by Shat Shanga, by associating with Vaishnavas, associating with sages and sadhus. That's the purpose of life. But in this time, the respected, the Brahmins were respected in the society. The Brahmins were respected. Shuni Pandit Bhattacharya, Jota Bipra Ailo, all of the respected scholars and priests from the area. They heard that the festival was being performed. So many, the Bhattacharya and the Pandit, so many were there. So many were there, residing on the banks of the Ganga. Mandakori, Prabhu, Shabade, Upare, Boshila, they came, these Bhattacharya Pandit scholars came, and Nityananda Prabhu, Mandakori, he respected them. Nityananda Prabhu respected them. And Shabade, Upare, Boshila, he gave them a seat on the raised platform. He offered them a seat on the raised platform. So this is the scene. In front of all, Nityananda Prabhu sitting on that platform under the banyan tree with all his special associates. So many other scholars and Vaishnavas and sages, they came. Nityananda respected them and offered them a seat. Others were sitting all around. And then in front of every participant, Dui Mrita Kundika Shabad Age Dilo, in front of everybody, Shabad Age Dilo, Dui, 2 Mrita Kunda, there's clay pots, 2 clay pots. Ek Dugda Chida Ar Dadi Chida Koilo. In one of them, there is milk, condensed milk and ghee and kola champa, and in the other one, yogurt and chip rice and sugar. Each and every one of them was supplied 2 earthen pots. And one was chip rice soaked in yogurt, and the other chip rice soaked in condensed milk. And this is very interesting, the space. So some were sitting on the platform with Lord Nityananda, some were sitting on the ground, some on the bank of the Ganga, and others, they had to go into the Ganga. Tire Ushtane Napaya, Ar Jotojon, Tire Ushtane Napaya, not getting a place on the bank of the Ganga, Ar Jotojon, Jole Name, Dugda Chira Korira Bojon, Jole Name. They're going into the water and they're taking the 2 pots. Now, this is very fascinating that Andantarashta, Paramanu Chayantarashtam. In Vedas, in Brahma Samhita, it explains that Andantarashta, Paramanu, he's situated within the every atom. Paramanu, he's situated within every atom. Andantarashta Paramanu, and that the whole universe is situated within him. The whole universe, he's situated within Andantarashta Paramanu, Chayantarashtam. He's situated within every atom, and the whole universe is situated within him. And in Gita, Maya Avyakta, what is that? Maya Tatamidam Sarvam Jagat Avyakta Murtina, Maya Tatamida, Machdani Sharva Bhutani. In my impersonal form, I am present everywhere. Machdani Sharva Bhutani. The whole creation is situated within me. Machdani Sharva Bhutani. All creation is situated within me. This is Lord Nityananda Prabhu. So how is it possible that there can be any shortage of space? He can make the whole area expand to as large as he wants to fit all the associates in and the participants in the Leela. He can make it as large as he wants. He can make it as small. The whole universe is within him. But there's no space. Why is there no space? And they're in the Ganga. They're in the Ganga because the ecstasy is increased. In the picnic mood, they're in the Ganga they're in the Ganga. It's not that, we'll come later, there's no room. We'll come later. There's no room now. No, Lord Nityananda, they're taking prasadam, the ecstasy, the enjoyment, taking prasadam. Let's go and stand in the river, if that's required to be able to take prasadam with Lord Nityananda. So they're so eager, they're standing in the river. And these Vaishnavas, the cowherd voice will hear, they're enjoying. There's a picnic. So this is the scene. Kehu upade, kehu tole, kehu Ganga tire, Bish John Tintai, Poribeshan Kore. So in these 3 places, Bish John, 20 people, Poribeshan Kore, are distributing the 2 pots in the 3 places. Kehu upade, some on the platform with Lord Nityananda. Kehu tole, some kehu at the roots of the tree. Kehu Ganga tire, and some on the banks of the Ganga. In these 3 places, on the platform, under the tree, under the platform, and on the banks of the Ganga, these 20 men are distributing prasadam, the 2 pots. That means they're giving 2 pots, and then they're coming and they're giving more and more into the 2 pots. And in this way, this is the punishment. This is the punishment that Lord Nityananda Prabhu requested Raghunath Das Goswami to coordinate. And why? It's a punishment. This is his Bhakata Sheva. Bhakata Sheva Paramashiti. Premalotika Amru. The highest perfection, Thakur Bhaktivinoda sings, a Bhakata Sheva Paramashiti. If you can serve Vaishnavas, if you can please Vaishnava, Bhakata Sheva. If you can serve Vaishnava, Bhakata Sheva Paramashiti, that's the highest perfection. Premalotika Amru, the root of love of Godhead. And that means that the more devotee, the one who's more devoted, if you can serve them, that's even better. You find the person as the devotee of the Lord and serve them. That's the secret. Bhakata Sheva Paramashiti, the highest perfection is the serving the devotee. And if you the one who's most devoted, the one who's most dear, if you can serve him, then there's even more higher perfection. In Bengal, still we see many times we were living in Bangladesh 4 years preaching there. People would invite the local people. They invite to feed. We were traveling village to village preaching Krishna consciousness. So people would invite us, and all for 2-3 days, and all families would gather. All ladies chopping vegetables, cooking every 3 meals. They'd be at a feast. They want to feed us, want to satisfy us. Bhakata Sheva Paramashiti. If you cannot give your whole life, if you cannot fulfill the mission by spreading Krishna, at least So at least feed the Vaishnavas. At least feed those who are preaching Krishna consciousness. At least feed them. So at this time, Raghava Pandit, his house is just not far from this special place in Panihati, his house. That's a very special place. Mahaprabhu said he's always present there, that performs the Leelas there. Raghava Pandit, his house, his sister, Damayanti, she's cooking. So many extraordinary preparations. When Mahaprabhu would go to Puri, Mahaprabhu went to Puri, and the devotees from Bengal, they're going to Jagannath Puri. They're sending from Raghunath Bhavan, Raghunath Fair, Jal in the bags. So 12 men are carrying different items all the way to Jagannath Puri from Raghava Bhavan, from Raghava Pandit, sending food. So Raghava Pandit comes and says, "Oh, Goshai, I've cooked for you. We've cooked for you so many nice items in the house. It's just 100 meters down the road. Raghava Bhavan. You can go and visit Panihati." And they were taking prasadam, and a little later we'll hear they're taking prasadam there. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appears there to take prasadam. Later in the evening, he went, took prasadam. So he's saying, "I've cooked all this prasadam here." And Nityananda Prabhu says, "I'll come in the evening and take that. Now I'm enjoying here this picnic with my associates on the bank of the Ganga." And Nityananda says, "Gopa Jati Ami, Bahut Gopa Gon Shange." I am a cowherd boy. Gopa, this is text number 75, chapter 6, Antolila. Gopa Jati Ami, I'm a cowherd boy. Bahut Gopa Gon Shange. I have appeared with so many cowherd boys. Ami Shuk Pai A Pulin Bojan Ronge. And we get happiness in this way on the bank of the river having a picnic. So this was the special punishment that Nityananda Prabhu had recommended for Raghunath Das, that we're cowherd boys. We like to have picnics on the bank of the river. So you arrange a picnic for us. And he says particularly, chira dahi, we want chip rice and yogurt. Of course, it's very hot in Bengal now, and steamy hot. And so it's very cooling. Chira dahi, and the camphor is very wonderful. And they put different fruits. The kola champa, mango is there, and the lychee and kartal all mixed in to make the festival here in Mayapur. So he's enjoying. Why this festival? Because he's enjoying, because he's a cowherd boy. Prajendra Nandana Jai Shachi Shuta Hoilo Shay Balarama Hoilo Nitai. He's Balaram, he's Lord Balaram, he's a cowherd boy. And he enjoys on the banks of the Jamuna with the cowherd boyfriends. And so similarly here, he's in the mood of the Vrindavan. And at that time, after arranging and feeding all of those devotees prasadam, at that time, Lord Nityananda, he brings Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in meditation. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Lord Nityananda, they're wandering up and down the rows where devotees are taking prasadam. And Lord Nityananda, he's pushing a little bit of that chira dahi into the mouth from each of the pots. He's pushing it into the mouth of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Not everybody could see this, but some could see. So then, after wandering through the rows of devotees seated taking prasadam with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and feeding Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Lord Nityananda, he came and sat down with his associates to take prasadam. Deki, Nityananda Prabhu Anandita Hoilo taking prasadam, he became ecstatic. Lord Nityananda became ecstatic taking prasadam. Koto Koto Bhav Avesh Prakash Koilo taking prasadam. Koto Koto Bhav Avesh. Bhav Avesh. Bhav Avesh. Manifestations of ecstatic symptoms. Koto Koto Bhav Avesh Prakash Koilo. He manifested so many ecstatic symptoms taking prasadam. How you determine, how you can identify advanced by the Vaishnava, even taking prasadam, they're in ecstasy. Even taking prasadam, they're overwhelmed. And bhav avesh, the bhav avesh, varieties of ecstatic love, bhav avesh prakash hoilo. And just taking prasadam is in ecstasy. Agyadilo, Hariboli, Korohobojan, Nityananda is calling out everybody, chant the holy name and take prasadam. Hari Hari Doni Uti Boryalo Bhavan, and hearing all the devotees chant Hari Hari. It filled the universe, the sound. So they're remembering the mood of the cowherd boys in Vrindavan as they were enjoying so much. So many the shopkeepers came, Lord Nityananda, he took their ingredients, he made the Chira Dahi, he fed the shopkeepers. Yeah, the Mahotshav. Mahotshav means everyone should be fed as much as possible. This is Mahotshav. There's prasadam, no end, akandito, no end to the prasadam, everyone is fed. And everyone is welcome, everyone is fed. As ISKCON. Make the festival, prasadam, everyone comes, thousands of people, everyone gets prasadam. That's important. That's ISKCON festival. So after taking prasadam and being satisfied, then a Brahmin bought a flower garland, placed it around the neck of Lord Nityananda, and then put sandalwood pulp on the forehead of Lord Nityananda, and then offered him the pan and beetle nuts, which Lord Nityananda was chewing, and in this way his mouth became reddish. And Lord Nityananda was personally distributing the prasadam of that sandalwood paste and the garlands to the devotees. Now the next day, there was a feast of a festival. In the evening, Nityananda Prabhu went to Raghava Bhavan. He took the rice and sabjis that were prepared by Raghava Pandit. And the next morning, Prate, Nityananda Prabhu, Ganga, Shnan, Koriya. Next morning, Nityananda Prabhu, having taken his bath at the place in the Ganga, Shei Brikamule, Boshila, Nijagon, Laya, that same tree. Shei Brikamule, under the same tree, he's sitting Nijagon Laya, taking his special internal associates with him. He's sitting down under that tree. And Raghunath Das went and fell down at the lotus feet of Lord Nityananda, worshipping his lotus feet. And he began to explain that I desired to attain the shelter of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, but like a dwarf that wants to catch the moon, I tried many times, but I was unable. Every time I tried to go away, that my father and mother would send the security, and they would capture me and bind me up and bring me back. He prays to Lord Nityananda. Tomar kripa bina kehu Chaitanya na pai. Tomar kripa bina. Without your mercy, Tomar kripa bina kehu Chaitanya na pai. Without your mercy, one cannot get the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Tumi kripa koilo are adhame pai. And if you are adhamer pai, if you show mercy, even the most unqualified person, adhamer pai, tumi kripa koilo. If you show mercy, even the most unqualified person can become a recipient of the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. I request you, although I am most unfit and unworthy, I request you to be merciful toward me, granting me shelter. He's asking a request. He's asking a benediction. He fulfilled the order. He fed all of Nijagon or Nityananda Prabhu's intimate associates and friends and everyone. He fed them all according to the desire, according to the special menu request of Lord Nityananda. Chira Dahi. He fed them all. And Lord Nityananda was satisfied, and he's asking a benediction. He's asking a request. So what to ask? He said, am I going to find a husband for my daughter? No, my son should get a good service in the government. No, I opened a bit. No, those things will come anyway. Those things that, according to a previous life, those results will come anyway. So why you waste such a valuable opportunity? You get a benediction. He asks. He says that, please grant me shelter at the lotus feet of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Moramate, Bore Dori, Kodaha, Prashad. You put your feet on my head. Moramate, Bore Dori, Kodaha, Prashad. Nirabignay Chaitanya Pai, Kodo Ashirabad, Nirabignay Chaitanya Pai. Without any obstacles, I will attain Lord Chaitanya's lotus feet. Kodo Ashirabad, you give me this benediction. Now, hearing this, Lord Nityananda, he was very pleased. He began to glorify Raghunath Das. He's saying that he's so wealthy he has heavenly opulence like King Indra. He's enjoying so much, he doesn't care for these things at all. He's not interested in these things at all. So Nityananda Prabhu says to the devotees, if you all are merciful upon him, he will attain the shelter of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And then Lord Nityananda speaks. He calls Lord Raghunath Das, puts his lotus feet on his head. Nityananda putting his lotus feet on the head of Raghunath Das. Tumi Jai Koyala, hey, Pulina Bojan, you Pulina, this picnic you arranged for us. Tomade Kripa Kori, Gaud, Koilo Agaman, in order to bestow mercy upon you, Lord Chaitanya came. So Lord Nityananda's answer is that you've already received the mercy of Lord Chaitanya. He says he's already come. He's already brought here. And you fed Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and all of these intimate associates, all these devotees. He came here, he ate the chip rice. By his causeless mercy, he ate the chip rice and the milk. Tomar udarite goid oilo apana. He personally came here to deliver you. Chutila tomar jota bigna bandane. You should understand that all the impediments which are meant for your bondage have now been removed. And he predicts what will happen to what will happen to Raghunath Das. He predicts. He says, Swaruper Sthane tomar koribo shamarpan Swaruper Sthane tomar. You will be offered at to become the student of Sharup Sthane. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu will accept you, place you under the charge of his secretary Sarup Damana, place you under the charge. Sharup Sthane Tomar Rokibe Shamarpane, place you under the charge of Mahaprabhu. He'll place you under the charge of his personal secretary, Sarup. And later we'll hear Raghunath Das, Swarupe Raghu. The Raghunath of Swarup, Swarupe Raghu, Antaranga Britta Bali Rocky Bay Jordane. You will become one of the most confidential Antaranga Britta. You will become one of the most confidential associates of Chaitanya, Raghunath Das Goswami. Rocky Bay Jordane, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu will keep you at his lotus feet. Nishchinta. Without any nischinta, without any anxiety, nischinta, hoya, jao, apane bhavan, without any anxiety, you return to your house, achire, nirvigne, pabi chaitanya jaran, very quickly, without any obstacles, you will attain the lotus feet of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Shab bhakta dware tar ashirvad koil, all the devotees blessed, Raghunath Das. Tar Shabare, Jordana Raghunath Bondilo, and Raghunath Das Goswami, he took the dust. He took the dust from the lotus feet of all the assembled Vaishnavas. In this way, Raghunath Das, by fulfilling the request of Lord Nityananda and feeding his intimate associates, Chira Dahi, yogurt and chip rice, condensed milk and chip rice, he attracted the mercy of Lord Nityananda of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He followed the instructions of Lord Nityananda. He ran home, and then the chapter goes on to describe very quickly he was able to extricate himself permanently from his household bondage, and he was able to travel to Jagannath Puri and there become gloriously situated as a Antaranga Britta, a special intimate associate of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he remained in Jagannath Puri for Mahaprabhu's final pastimes, enjoying association with the Lord every day. And then he went, after the Lord Chaitanya departed from this world in Puri, then Raghunath Das Goswami went to Vrindavan and remained for the final days. And there actually he instructed Krishna Das Kaviraj Goswami in the details of Mahaprabhu's Leela as he witnessed it in Jagannath Puri. And in this way, Chaitanya Charitamrita was compiled. Eto Kohilo Nityanandera Bihar. In this way, I've described the pastime, Nityanandera Bihar, Chira Dahi Mahotsav Nam Kateja, which is famous as the festival of chip rice and yogurt. Is there any question on today's topics?
Hare Krishna, anybody has a question? Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Namaskar, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Now you said that he achieved Lord Chaitanya by mercy of Nityananda. how to develop that feeling? Because, mercy seeking, we are so much addicted to material world where, things don't happen by mercy, apparently. You work hard, you get a job, you don't really feel mercy. But in coming a spiritual line, we don't change that attitude. We think by our, academic learning, by my physical strength, I achieve things. I don't understand that spiritual life. Mercy is the Prabhupada said is the mercy movement. So how do you understand this mercy?
Well, it's something that's experienced, directly experienced. We can reflect on our lives before becoming to this movement, how we were in ignorance, even though we may have been situated in relevant material comforts. But unless one knows actually who one is and what the purpose of life is, what's the point of such illusory happiness? So the mercy is that we changed our understanding, our identity, who we are. That's what we understand. And on the basis of that understanding, Nitya Krishna Das, then everything changes in one's life. That's the mercy. That all of the miseries, you can see them in their proper perspective. Miseries become Radha Krishna Bolo. What is that? Jiv Krishna Das Ebishash Kolito Adukhanai. That's the mercy, that when you understand that you're Krishna's servant, and Bunjana Evatmakritam Vipakam, the sufferings that I'm experiencing are a result of my previous sinful activities I have to endure. Krishna's giving me just a token of that, just to remind me. He's removed so much of that misery and suffering. That's the mercy. I'm Krishna's servant. I just finish up this life, serve Krishna, and we can return to the spiritual world. That's the mercy. We're all receiving the mercy. If you want more, you can get more by intensifying your devotion, by intensifying your service. You can get more mercy.
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you so much. Yes, any question anybody has? Yes, Shashi Mataji. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Where is Panihati? Nearby Katwa? Yeah, nearby Bolpur.
Yeah, Panihati is not near Katwa. Katwa is north. Katwa is the other side of Mayapur. You go on the Ganga, north.
Yes.
Katwa is north. The Panihati is south. Panihati is in between Kolkata and Mayapur. Is actually in between, not far from Kolkata. It's a Hooghly River. When you're coming out of Kolkata, not far from the Belur Mott of
Yes,
Ramakrishna Mission.
I saw Belur that Nesar Kali. I saw.
Yeah, so not far. You just carry on a little further, a few kilometers up Ganga from Belur Mott, you come to Panihati.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
So today we'll conclude.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Thank you. We're going to
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Prabhuji.
Prabhuji.
धन्यवाद प्रभुजी
कृष्ण प्रभुजी दंडवत प्रणाम
धन्यवाद
प्रभुजी थैंक यू सो मच
थैंक यू सो मच
हरे कृष्ण दंडवत प्रणाम
हरे कृष्ण
वेंकटेश्वर वासुदेव प्रतिम नमित